Hello! Last time I introduced to you clauses. And I told you that there were two kinds of clauses, and today we're going to be talking more about the first kind of clause, independent clauses. So remember that the two types of clauses are independent clauses and dependent clauses. But today we're not going to be looking much at dependent clauses. In fact, we're not going to be paying any attention to them at all. We're only looking at independent clauses. So, what is an independent clause? Well, an independent clause is a group of words that goes together and it has at least one subject noun and at least one verb. It is a complete thought. Any independent clause should give you a complete idea. You should understand what is going on when you have these groups of words. But an independent clause is not a sentence. It's not. Here we have four independent clauses. All of these groups of words should give you information and they should make a certain amount of sense. However, the way that we interpret these groups of words, well, that determines sort of the information that we're getting. So we're going to go through, top to bottom, and look at these clauses. I want you to try and figure out what is the subject noun and what is the verb. Remember, there may be more than one. Reading on a train makes some feel sick. Remember that when you're looking for the verb in a sentence, or when you're looking for any words in a sentence, it's good to start with the verb. Can anyone find the verb, the main verb of this idea in this sentence? Anyone? I'll just do it. Makes is the verb, okay? Now, that makes the subject of this clause a little tricky, because if we look at what comes before the verb, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 words. Is this clause about a train? Would it make sense to say, train makes some feel sick? Not really. Is it about reading, this gerund here? Reading makes some feel sick. Well, actually, that makes a certain amount of sense, especially for some of our students. But in this example, reading on a train is actually a gerund phrase that is our subject noun. This is one idea. Reading on a train makes some feel sick. So how do we turn this independent clause into a sentence? It should be pretty easy. You should know that independent clauses are not sentences, but they can become sentences really easily. How? By taking the first letter and making it a capital letter, and then putting some kind of punctuation mark at the end. Does that hurt? 3 words. They go together. What's the problem with these 3 words? Well, is there a subject now? What's the verb? Maybe you can figure it out. Here, does is the verb. And you should know that whenever a group of words starts with a word like this, a verb, you have 2 choices. Either this clause is going to be a question clause, it's going to be asking for information, or it's going to be command, it's going to be telling someone to do something. So, does it make sense for me to say, does that hurt? Well, no, it doesn't. This must be a question. And in order to change this independent clause into a sentence, I need to add the capital letter. What is the subject? The way to find the subject and the verb in a question is to answer the question using all the words. So if I say, does that hurt? You can say, yes, that does hurt. That would be the subject pronoun, does would be the verb, or does hurt would be the verb. There we have the question. Number 3, you should already know. Call your mom to pick you up. Again, we're starting with a verb, and I already gave you a hint. What kind of clause would this be? What kind of sentence is it going to become? Well, it's starting with a verb, and to change this independent clause into a sentence, we have to add the capital letter, and then we have to add some kind of punctuation. Now, we could just make this command a straightforward command. Call your mother, call your mom to pick you up. Or maybe there's a little bit more emotion in this command. Maybe it's call your mother to pick you up. Call is the verb, and the subject for a command is you, whoever is being spoken to. There is no subject on this side of the verb. The subject is the imaginary you. Okay? Now, last one. Tom, Jane, and Harry laugh, play, and sing. That's so nice of Tom, Jane, and Harry. So, which one is the subject? It's a trick question. These are all subjects. Remember that independent clauses, or sentences, once you complete them, may have more than one subject. Also, they may have more than one verb. So, Tom, Jane, and Harry laugh, play, and sing. These three words, laugh, play, sing, are all verbs. Independent clauses should be very easy for you to change into sentences. Capital letters at the beginning, with names, you don't have to worry about that. Punctuation at the end. They are all complete ideas. So, let's review.
Intro to independent clauses. What are the two types of clauses? The two types of clauses are independent and dependent. What does a group of words have to do when talking about clauses, or phrases, or sentences? The group of words has to go together and make sense. What is an independent clause? An independent clause has at least one subject noun and verb. It is a complete thought, but it is not a sentence. What is an independent clause missing to be a sentence? An independent clause needs to have a capital letter at the beginning and a punctuation mark at the end to be a sentence. Change the following clause into a sentence. Hurry up and answer this question. What is missing in a command-type sentence? Why? A subject noun is missing because the subject is the person being spoken to.